Good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 20th of March, 2013. Here are the news stories worth talking about in Panama today. The biggest story, obviously, dominating all of the news today, a fire started at the Cerro Patacon garbage dump last night. And they first started reporting on this yesterday afternoon at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It is a big fire. It covers a very large area, and these fires in garbage dumps like this are notoriously hard to fight. You've got stacks and stacks and stacks of fuel. In this case, also there's an area where there's old tires that are involved, and also we're still in the dry season, so you get a good breeze blowing through there. So you get this fire that gets enough oxygen going, and then it'll work its way down into the stack. So what you have to do is you've got to smother it. Now, in order to smother it, it's a big job, and they're up to. There was another fire in 2008. There was one in 2004, and the one in 2004 occurred in March, for example, right at the end of the dry season. So they're saying this one is 15 times worse than the one that occurred in 2008, and they're trying to say how long it's going to take to put it out. If they were honest about it, they would say, we have no idea how long it's going to take to put it out. We're going to work on it. We're going to fight it, and we'll do the best we can. But as a matter of fact, there's no way of knowing. So it hasn't been burning yet for the first 24 hours since it just started yesterday afternoon. But it is a big fire. Now, the smoke from this fire is affecting downtown Panama City. We woke up this morning, there was almost an inversion layer over the entire city where the smoke had, because it was during the night, the winds died down. The fire itself kind of died down overnight. And then first thing this morning, it picked right back up again. But there was this layer of smoke. It looked like Mexico City or, there's Beijing. There's lots of cities that live in this cloud of pollution 24/7. Thankfully, we don't have that here, but this morning everybody woke up to the smell of this garbage dump on fire. Now, there's a man named Arturo Alvarado. He is the director of the National Civil Protection System, which is SINAPROC. Now, over the course of the years, since this guy has been in the job, he has always made the same mistake. He errs on the side of not alarming anyone, okay? There have been situations when there's been tsunami threats, for example, from big earthquakes on the other side of the Pacific, where the Tsunami Warning Center has issued an alert for the entire Pacific coast, like from California to Chile, and this one guy steps up and says, there's no threat. Dude, yeah, there is. In the case of, and that's just one thing, but there's been several times, lots of times, he always does that. It's like, no, my job is just to wish for the best, hopeful thinking, and keep the people calm, because panic is, well, here's what he did today. He came out and said that the smoke coming from out of the garbage dump is not toxic. Go breathe it in. He's saying they're taking readings of CO2 and oxygen from around the level, and it's an irritant, but it's not dangerous. What a moron. That is just so incredibly dumb that it's God. There's no such thing as smoke that is not harmful, okay? It's only the degree of how harmful. There's some smoke, you take one whiff and you're dead. There's some smoke that you can tolerate quite a bit, and then your body will eventually recover from it. But to come out and say that the smoke is not harmful or not toxic is idiotic. It's beyond idiotic. It's flat out stupid. And everybody else is kind of looking at this guy and going, really? Okay. Well, here's recommendations from the Ministry of Health, which completely conflicts with what the guy from SINAPROC is saying. They're saying that any citizens who live, he said everybody should be using some kind of a mask. Take a handkerchief and wet it down and put it over your face so you're not breathing in this smoke that's not so toxic, according to the SINAPROC, moron. they're saying anybody who lives in a tall building or a condominium should close the windows, hopefully use air conditioning to filter the air, and then that will reduce the amount of smoke in the building. However, if you don't have that luxury, and if the smoke is blowing through your house, I mean, say for example you live in a house like, let's say El Dorado, and it's just coming right through your house, and you can't close it out and you can't filter it in any way, they're saying evacuate. Get the hell out of there. Go someplace else, upwind. Go move in with a relative or something where it's not being affected by the smoke. So yeah, the smoke is harmful. This is the Ministry of Health. Ignore the Cineproc guy, okay? So that's and they're saying if you have health issues related to the smoke, as in respiratory problems or anything related to that, to seek medical care immediately. So the Ministry of Health has a clue, all right? So does the Ministry of Education. They've closed the schools. All of the schools that are in the area, anywhere near Cerro Patacon, that are the most affected by the smoke are closed. Now they came out with a list, but I think it's probably going to be kind of at the discretion of any individual principal at the school. They just say, hey, listen, smoke's too bad at our school. That's it. We're done. Send the kids home. That's what's going to happen. So anyway, the Ministry of Education is also doing the right thing. So that's the last I've got on this garbage dump fire situation. It's going to continue to smolder. This thing might smolder until the rainy season comes. I mean, it could literally sit there and smoke for a month. And when the rainy season comes in, now you're getting meters of water dumped on it, and eventually it'll go out. They're going to try to truck in dirt and sand and lay a layer of a cap over the top of this fire to smother it. That's their plan. That's how they're going to fight this. I saw the newsreels this morning. They had like a couple of fire trucks and a couple of dump trucks, and you're talking hundreds of square meters of refuge on fire. So it's gonna take them a while to do this. 3 days, 6 days, smoking dope and wishful thinking. It's going to smolder for a long time. All right, so that's the end of the garbage dump thing. The next big story, which is still going on, is the conflict or the problems over the implementation of the Metro bus. Now, this is kind of funny. Yesterday, I had people call me up, and they're sitting on the balcony of their apartment. They've got a view of Panama City, and they're just enjoying life in Panama City and having a glass of wine. And they decided to, according to Panama Guide, there's no more Metro buses, or there's no more. I keep mixing up Metro bus and Diablo Rojo. There's no more Diablo Rojos in Panama City. Well, they can see the Cinta Costera, so they go, "There's one. There's another one. There's another one." So they're counting them. When they got up to like 22 or 23, they called me. They're like, "Hey, Don, man, just so you know, there's like, they're like 22. Oh, there's another one. There's 23." So they're happily counting the Diablo Rojos that are still riding around Panama City that are not supposed to be there. Now, there is a possibility that those buses that they were watching on the Cinta Costera might have been coming from the terminal at Albrook, going down the Cinta Costera to pick up the southern corridor to go out to eastern Panama, like the Darien, all right? Those are buses in the interior that will transit through the city that are not servicing the bus stops in the city. It's a possibility, okay? I don't know. Are there probably buses, Diablo Rojo still running around picking up passengers in Panama City? Almost certainly, okay? But it just so happens that those people might have been seeing something and thinking it was something else. Enough said on that. Now, what they're going to do to try to help the situation, there are points in the city, for example, the Plaza Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May Plaza, right in the middle of downtown at the end of Central. There are 26 routes that all converge on that one point. Okay, so what you get is this cluster where everybody wants to take a bus to there and then make a transfer and go somewhere else. But it's not a bus terminal, it's a city street. So you get this massive jam of buses and people waiting and getting on, getting off. It's an absolute cluster. So what they're going to do is they're going to break up the routes and basically make the circles smaller. the way the bus system works in Panama City, it's all just a number of big interlocking loops. So you take one loop this far, then you can hop off here and get on the other loop and continue on that way. But the transfers are free. So if they can just make smaller loops, then they can have better coverage and more frequency of hitting your bus stops. Now, the riders might have to make more frequent transfers, but that's okay. They just don't want to be waiting at a bus stop. So that's one of the things that they are going to do. Now, as a result of the changes, now that they've gotten all of the Diablo Rojos out of the Panama City, supposedly, and it's all coverage with Metrobus, supposedly, they have control over the whole system for the first time ever. They can look at the whole map and they can go, okay, well, we can move this over here and we can move that over here and we can change this around, and they can do things. Before, it was all individual owners, and it was harder than anything to tell those dudes what to do. Now, for the first time, they can shift the map around. So they're making some changes. As a result of those changes, of course, there's still people bitching and complaining, but there are people saying that the buses are arriving a little bit faster, and they're working hard to overcome these problems. One of the things that it's the National Council of Business of Private Businesses, CONEP, they are recommending that the businesses make adjustments to their work schedules. So if everybody's working the same old standard 9 to 5 or whatever, guess what? Then all million people are going to come to the Panama City at the same time, and they're all going to want to leave at the same time. This is just so obvious, it's stupid. I mean, you could have people that are could come in at 7 in the morning and leave at 3 or whatever. Shift your scheduling around to dilute the rush hour a little bit. So that's their suggestion. I think it's a good suggestion, and I hope it's implemented. But again, it's private businesses; they can do whatever they want. Okay, they are going to be going to a new alphanumeric license plate system instead of just the standard 6 numbers. They're now going to be doing 2 letters and 4 numbers, and the 2 letters are going to indicate the districts of where you're from or where you're at. The reason for this is they're running out of license plates. There's too many cars and not enough numbers. And if you think about it, the first letter, if you've got a number from 1 to 0, you've got 10 digits. If you've got a letter, you've got 26. You can go to ZZ if you want. You can greatly increase the number of license plates you can issue for that sector. So anyway, different license plates coming. That will be on the way. Finally, one more thing here. The Cable and Wireless Company issued a report saying that the area of El Parador, which is in the eastern part of Panama City, that a contractor damaged a fiber optic cable, and that is affecting communications, primarily cell phone services, to the east of Panama City. They're hoping to have that repaired and services back online. They're saying here by 10 o'clock this morning, but if that's out, that's what's going on, and that's why. All right, that's the last of what I got for today, the 20th of March, 2013. As always, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.